Let us start with the variance analysis. So first and important variance is material cost variance. Anything related to material. So in my production process, I consume material, correct? So it has, if I have to express material cost in two factors, they are quantity and rate. At what rate I have purchased that material, or I can also say price. So at what price I have purchased this material, then how much quantity I am consuming. These two determine the variance. So first I will divide the material cost into those two. One is price. On the right hand side you have material price variance. So here how to remember these formulas. So the standard costing entire thing is remembering formulas. There is one shortcut method that also I will teach, which is based on tables. But how to use logic? Let's use logic and learn first. So material cost variance. This is the overall variance. What is the basic definition? Difference between standard and actual. How is the standard cost arrived? Standard quantity, standard price. How is the actual value of the material? Actual quantity and actual price. So that is logically. Then now I will subdivide it into two variances. One is material price variance, then material usage variance. As the name suggests, the price variance, it is because of raw material prices. So I will take standard price minus actual price and multiply by actual quantity, because that is what I have consumed. So the same formula can be simplified as price difference, SP minus AP, standard price minus actual price, into actual quantity. On the left hand side, I have material usage variance. So the second factor, what is the second factor? Quantity or the usage. How this is determined? Changes in standard quantity and actual quantity. So if I have to simplify this formula, it will be SQ minus AQ into AP. Sorry, into SP. Into SP. This usage variance has two subvariances. This is applicable only if there are more than one material. What is the meaning of that? Let's take, I have sugar and wheat to manufacture biscuit. Now I have to mix them in 2:3. But I mix it in 2.5:2.5. Total 2 plus 3 is 5 kg. 2.5 plus 2.5 is also 5 kg. But what has happened, because of this change in the ratio, there is a new variance called as mix variance. Okay, and there is a yield variance, means because of this 2 plus 3 kg, I was getting 5 kg biscuit. But now when I'm mixing 2.5 kg sugar, 2.5 kg wheat, I'm getting 4.8 kg biscuit. So that is the yield variance. That means my output has changed. Why these are arising? Because there are more than one material. When more than one material is available, I have a property of mixing. So then these two subvariances will arise. Now let's understand who's responsible for what. Who's responsible for proper mixing? Production. So production is held responsible. Then yield variance. Yield variance sometimes can happen because of poor quality also. So output, my input, then there is processing, then I have output. Yield is nothing but output. My output may depend on the quality of material. Hence, this is assigned to purchase. Then material price variance on the right side, definitely purchaser is held responsible. Material usage variance, production is consuming the material. He has to properly use. So production is held responsible. But overall material cost variance, purchase is held responsible. Now we will see one problem. So Z Limited manufactures a standard product. Standard mix of it is material X and Y. That means there are two material. This is a 5 variance problem. When there are more than one material, it is 5 variance problem. Then you have to start looking for the data. So material X 60% at 15 per kg. So the subheading is, the heading is the standard mix of it is. So that means the data given here relates to standard. Material X is 15 per kg, material Y is 10 per kg. So first you have to prepare data table. Data table is header is material, then you have SQ, SP, AQ, AP. Then since this is a mix, we will also calculate revised standard quantity. Now let's get back to this question. What is this 15 and 10? These are the standard price, 15 per kg. So X and Y we will write 15 and 10. Normal loss in output is 20% of input due to shortage of material Y. The actual result for May 2022 were material X 210, material Y 190 kg. Then you have two rates. So this entire thing is actual. So 210 kg is actual quantity. Then 16 is actual price. So 210 and 16 I will write it in AQ and AP. Okay. Similarly for Y I will write 190 and 10.5. Now what is my standard quantity? This I have to calculate. For standard quantity, my actual output is 330 kg. Okay. So output is equal to 330 kg. Input I have to calculate. But there is some loss. If I have to get output of 330 kg with a loss of 20%, then my input has to be 330 divided by 100 minus 20%. Okay, then only my output will be 330 kg. So my output is 330 by 0.8. So 330 divided by 0.8 gives me 412.5. This is the total output. Out of this I have X, then I have Y. X is 60%. So that means 412 into 0.6. 247.5. This is the standard quantity for X. Similarly, Y will be 412.5 into 0.4. So this is 165. So Y is 40%. This now I will add it in my table. 247.5, 165. Now I will total it. Now I will total SQ column and AQ column. So this is total is 412.5. AQ total is 400. Now I have to calculate revised standard quantity. That means I have got actual quantities 210 and 190. But if I have got the same output in the standard proportions. So remember our wheat and sugar example. I was getting 2:3. But my output was, let's say, 3:3 or 3 plus 3. Suppose I wanted to get the output, same total output, but I want to split it in a standard ratio. This is called as revised standard quantity. How to get it? The total of AQ, I have to distribute it in X and Y proportion. So that means total of AQ is 400 into, for X, it will be 247.5 by 412.5. For Y, it will be 400 into 165, because 165 is Y's ratio, divided by 412.5. This total will be equal to your AQ, because here you are distributing AQ, actual quantity, in standard ratio. So this value will be how much? So I will get 240 and 160. So this is my revised standard quantity. So this is my step number 1. Second step, I will prepare different factors. So first is a factor of standard quantity, standard price. This is 1 on the first column. On the extreme right, last column, I will prepare both actual quantity and actual price. Okay, so I will not name it as 2, I will name it as 4. Then in all other columns, my price is always standard. That's how I will remember. Except in my last column, I have actual price. In all other column, price is always standard. And quantity is different other factors. So third column I have actual quantity at standard price. Then second column I have revised standard quantity into standard price. So if you have to remember only this, the sequence of this, then rest of the thing it is easy. Now I'll go to refer to this table SQ into SP. That means I have to multiply X SQ and X SP. Here you have to use your memory plus and memory recall functions. That will be faster. So what I will do, 247.5 into 15 memory plus. So I get 37. So I'll get 3712.5. So now I have already, this is stored in my memory function. 165 into 10, again memory plus 1650. Now I'll press memory recall. I will get 5362.5. Similarly, I will calculate for all other columns. Now you have got the total of these four factors. Okay. So first column is nothing but standard cost. Last column is nothing but actual cost. Okay. Then this is revised standard cost. Okay. Then the column 3, I will call it as actual quantity at standard price. So the standard cost, but for the actual quantity. This is second step. So first step was recording all the data. Then also you have to calculate revised standard quantity. Second step is put everything into this factor table. Remember SQSP, then RSQSP, AQSP, AQAP. After this, the last step is calculating the variances. For my total cost variance, material cost variance, it is standard minus actual. That means 1 minus 4. So my 1 is 5362.5 minus 5355. So I am getting 7.5. Since the value is positive, it is favorable. So I will write it in this material cost variance, SQSP minus AQAP if you want to remember the formula, or 1 minus 4. So value is 7.5, favorable. Positive value is favorable. That means good. My actual performance is good. Then next, second, material price variance. If I have to remember the formula, this is the difference between price, standard and actual price multiplied by actual quantity. Or shortcut is use the table column 3 total minus column 4 total. So 5050 minus 5355 minus 30.5. So I will write it as 30.5 adverse. Material usage variance. This is 305. So I will get material price variance 305 adverse, since this is negative. Next, material usage variance. Even without calculating, I can tell how much it is. That is through reconciliation. Typically, when I add these two, I should get my total cost variance. So I have to get 312.5 favorable. Now let us check 1 minus 3. 1 is 5352.5 minus 35050. I am getting 302.5. 302.5 or 312.5? 312.5. Next, material yield variance. 1 minus 2. 5362.5 minus 5200. 162.5. Since it is positive, it is favorable. Again, mix variance and yield variance both added together will give me usage variance. So that means my mix variance is 150 favorable. It should be 150 favorable. Let us verify it. 2 minus 3. 5200 minus 5050. 150. So correct. So all these value now calculate. This takes hardly 2 minutes. Once you prepare this factor table, next calculating all variances. Of course, in the examination, you have to write your first column and second column. third column you can write it in the pencil for your reference, and you can calculate the value. It takes hardly 2 minutes. If they ask for reconciliation, you prepare a reconciliation table like this. Material cost variance. So this is my total cost variance. This is 7.5. This is favorable, and also it comes in the total 7.5. Material price variance, adverse 305. Then material usage variance, favorable 312.5. Yield variance and mix variance, both are favorable, 162.5 and 150. So this is the reconciliation. We will address another problem which is slightly different. How this is different, I'll explain. So the following data is obtained from the cost records of ABC Limited. What all you have? You have two columns here. One is standard mix, then another is actual mix. In the standard mix, you have material X and Y. Next column, they have given standard quantity, standard price. Similarly, in the actual table, you have actual quantity and actual price. So SQ, SP, AQ, AP, it is given. You will understand it like that, and you will take the same value. So that is where you will go wrong. Okay, what you have to do, I will tell. Why this is different? Because in the standard, there was a loss of 30% and output was 140 kg. But actually, the loss was only 50%, 25%, and output is 150 kg. So in such problem, what you have to do in your data table, except standard quantity, all you can record whatever is given. So now I will start with X and Y standard. Standard price 25 and 50. So this I will record as it is. Actual quantity also 110, 90, 30, 45. 45. Only in the standard quantity it will change. How it will change? So if my output was 140 kg, I have to understand it like this. If my output, standard output was 140 kg, then my input should have been 120 kg. But since my actual output is 150 kg, for 150 kg, what should be my standard input? This is simple to do it, 120. So for X, 120 into logic. You have to use logic here. So is 140 higher or 150 higher? 150 is higher. So that means for 140 kg, if I am getting 120, for 150, I should be getting more than 120. So I will multiply it with 150 by 140. 120 into 15 by 14. So this is 128.57. This is my standard quantity. Next, similarly, 80 into 15 divided by 14. 85.71. So 128.57 plus 85.71, total is 212.28. Similarly, the actual quantity total is 200. Now I can calculate revised standard quantity. Total AQ 200 into, for X I will take 128.57 divided by 212.28. So here you will get 120. Then for RSQY, I will take 200 multiply by 85.71 divided by 212.28. Here I will get 80. Since we are rounding off, you may be getting 120 point something, 80 point something. But if you are not rounding off, you will get exactly 120 and 80. Now look, your standard value is 120 and 80. It is going to your revised standard quantity. Correct. So the meaning is correct. If my output was 140, I should have got 120 and 80. But since my output has increased to 150, my standard has changed. But my revised standard will be 120 and 80 only. Now next steps are similar. SQSP, RSQSP, AQSP, AQAP. So you fill the table, you work out and you fill the table. I will display the result in a while. So these are the actual values. Now next step, variances. Material cost variance 1 minus 4. That means 7500 minus 7350. 150 favorable. Material price variance 3 minus 4. 3 minus 4. It is minus 100. That means adverse. Material usage variance 1 minus 3. 1 minus 3 is 250 favorable. Now you have to do a check here. Plus 250 minus 100. Is it 150? It is correct. Reconciled. Next, yield variance 1 minus 2. This is 500 favorable. Then 2 minus 3 is your mix variance. This is minus 250. Minus 250. Adverse. Again, you have to reconcile. 500 minus 250 is 250. So usage is also reconciled. The standard costing problem is easy. We will now see one previous question. How previous question varies from your study material question. Now let us take a previous year question. If you identify this pattern, you will find out it is more or less you can identify what are the values. Okay. Cowan Limited using standard costing system produces a chemical product by blending two basic raw material. So two basic raw material means 5 variances. Standard cost of a chemical mixture is as follows. 60% material A, 40% material B. A standard loss of 50% on input is expected in production. Cost record for period have shown the following. 540 kg of material A, 260 kg of material B. What are these? Actual quantity of A and B. So in the data table, first we will write 540, 260. 540, 260. At 60 per kg and 50 per kg. What are these? Actual price of A and B, 60 and 50. Next, you have in the standard, you can take the price as it is, 50 and 60. So I will take 50 and 60 in standard price. Now the question, what is the standard quantity of material A? This is similar to the first question we solved. So input is equal to output plus loss. Loss is 20% here. 20%, so loss is 20% of input. So if I simplify this, I will get 0.8 IP is equal to OP. OP is 680. So divide by 0.8, I will get 850. Out of this 60% is A, which is 510. 40% is B, which has to be 340. So total is 850. So this is my standard quantity of A and B, 510 and 340. So many students struggle to even get to this. Once they get this data, then you can go to factor table, then you can go to variance table. Now total is 850 here. Then actual quantity total is 800 here. So that means you have to calculate now revised standard quantity. So 800 into 510 by 850, I will get 480. For B, it is 800 into 340 by 850. I will get 320. Total is 800 only. So next, factor table. So try and calculate, fill it. I will pause here. So attempt and I will display the results in few seconds. So these are the answers which I am displaying. Okay. So next is variances. Cost variance is 1 minus 4, 500 favorable. Price variance is 3 minus 4, 2800 adverse. So that means my usage variance has to be 3300 favorable. Let us see. Usage variance is 1 minus 3, 3300 favorable. That means all the things we have considered properly. This is one check. So if this was a 7-mark question, here you will get 4 marks. Then yield and mix variance. Yield is 1 minus 2, then 2 minus 3, 2700 600 favorable. So this is also reconciled. So this is how you solve standard cost problem. For more videos on detail, refer my previous videos.